What's up guys, in this video, we are going to take a look at Ningguang. This video is going to contain all the information that you need in order to make her your main DPS for your team. First let's take a look at how her charge and normal attacks work. Her normal and charge attacks work a bit differently from the other characters. You need to use your auto attacks in order to create star jades that will empower your charge attacks. One auto attack will generate a 1-star jade. By using your charge attack, all the star jades that you generated will be used as well, and you will do more damage based on the number of star jades that you had. The more star jades you have, the more damage you will do. That's all for her skills. Now let's take a look at some normal attack combinations and some of her animation cancelling. First of all, you want to use your normal attacks 3 times to build up the maximum amount of star jades. After that, you will want to use a charge attack because you will deal additional damage due to the star jades and you will not consume any stamina due to her level 60 passive talent. For her animation cancelling, what you want to do is to hold any movement key during her normal attacks. This will cancel her animation. Here is a quick example with and without animation cancelling. Let's take a look at what her kit has to offer. Her elemental skill will create a geo-construct that has multiple capabilities, which are the following. She can block the opponent's projectiles. This construct scales based on her max HP. Increases the nearby character's elemental resistance by 10%, but only at Constellation 4. And lastly, a character that passes through the Jade screen will gain a 12% geo damage bonus for 10 seconds. This one is the level 60 passive talent. This skill allows her to be played as a DPS or as a support unit for your other geo users because they can fully utilize the level 60 passive talent. They will receive a 12% geo damage bonus by passing through the Jade shield. Her elemental burst will fire homing projectiles at her opponents that deals geo damage. You can utilize her elemental skill, the Jade screen, to increase the number of gems that you will be firing. The only downside for this ability is that the range is too short, and sometimes even if there are multiple enemies, your homing projectiles will scatter across all your enemies. Her kit is good because all your abilities synchronize well together. Let's take a look at her talent priorities. Here you will mostly want to invest in your normal attack and elemental burst because you will be using them most of the time. Her elemental skill will mostly be used for the initial damage and support capabilities that it provides. If you have her as C2, you may consider investing in this talent because you can double or triple cast her Jade screen, which will grant you more damage during a longer period of the fight. Here is what I recommend if you do not have her second constellation. Level all her talents to level 6 and then focus only on her normal attack and elemental burst. If you have her at C2, you will want to focus on all of her talents, but still, you will want to prioritize your normal attacks and elemental burst ones. She does not require any constellations to be viable. Her constellations will only increase her burst capabilities. The first constellation gives your normal attacks AoE damage. This constellation works great for multiple enemies when they are stacked together. You do not need her at C1 in order to make her viable. When the Jade screen has shattered, the cooldown will reset, but can only occur once every 6 seconds. This constellation is her first power spike because you can double cast your Jade screen and even triple cast it. That will be a big damage increase for her. Here I will be showing you an example of how you can triple cast your Jade screen. Her C3 and C5 will increase her elemental burst and skill talent level by 3. For the fourth constellation, her Jade screen will increase the nearby character's elemental resistance by 10%. This one only gives you support capabilities. Sixth constellation. When her ulti is used, Ningguang gains 7-star Jades. This one is the best constellation for her because you will do massive burst damage when you use your charge attacks. You will become a machine gun. Let me give a mathematical example. A Ningguang at C5 will do 25% less burst damage than a C6 Ningguang. A C0 Ningguang will do about 85% less burst damage than a C6 one. In my opinion, the best constellations for her are C1, C2, and C6 because they will give you a damage boost. If you are a low spender, what I recommend is to stop at C2. Let's take a look at what are her best weapons. Let's start with the 5-star weapons first. We only have these 3 at the moment, which are Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds, Skyward Atlas, Memory of Dust. The first is Lost Prayer the Sacred Winds. This weapon is not so great because of the weapon passive, which grants you an 8% elemental damage bonus every 4 seconds for a maximum of 4 stacks. In order to fully utilize the weapon passive, you will have to remain on Ningguang without switching her out for a longer period of time. This weapon can be great in co-op because you will mainly use one character, especially in 4 players co-op mode. The problems with this weapon are the following. First, you cannot switch your character that uses this weapon because you won't benefit from the weapon's passive buff anymore. Second, even if you received the maxed stacks, there is also the probability that by the time that you got the buff, the enemies may already be dead. This is one of the many scenarios that could occur to you. Third, it requires too much time in order to fully utilize this weapon to the full potential. Skyward Atlas and Memory of Dust. These ones are the best in slot weapons for her. Skywards Atlas increases her elemental damage bonus by 12%, and your normal attacks have a 50% chance to deal 160% attack damage to nearby opponents. This can only occur once every 30 seconds. This weapon is great because of the 12% elemental damage bonus, plus the weapon secondary stat gives her attack percent, which scales well with her. Next, we have Memory of Dust. This weapon increases your shield strength by 20%, and after you hit an enemy, it will increase your attack by 4% for 8 seconds. This effect can be stacked 5 times. This weapon works really great on her because of the geo-elemental reaction with other elements. This weapon has an additional effects which can synergize well with her. When protected by a shield, the attack effects increases by 100%. The only downside for these 2 weapons is that, when you use an external attack percent buff like Bennett's ultimate or Goba's chili peppers, these weapons that give her attack percent as a secondary stat will be doing less damage than the Lost Prayer. Because the Lost Prayer gives you crit rate instead of attack percent, but it is not anything major. That's all for the 5-star weapons. At the end of the weapons section, I will show you a graph with the weapons damage ranking, with and without external buffs. In this section, I will only talk about the 4-star weapons that I see viable for her. But do not worry, at the end of the section, I will show you a tier list with all the catalyst weapons in the game. These are the following 4-star weapons that are good on her. First, we have the Widsith. This one gives you a nice secondary stat, but the weapon passive is RNG, which makes this weapon not so great. BlackCliff Agate. Same as the previous weapon, this one gives you crit damage as a secondary, but the weapon passive is situational. It is only good if you can stack it. FrostBearer. This weapon is a good crafting weapon if you do not have any other weapons. Eye of Perception. This one gives you attack percent as a substat. The weapon passive can be triggered by both her normal and charged attacks. The weapon passive is not that great, but if you do not have anything better, it's still a better choice than the craftable weapons. Solar Pearl. This is her best in slot 4-star weapon because the weapon secondary stat gives you crit rate And the weapon passive can be maintained 100% of the time if you play it right. Let's talk about what artifacts you should use on her. First, we have the 4-piece retracing bolide set. This one is only viable if you want to use her as a normal attack and charge attack bot.
Heavy machine gun.
The next one is the 4-piece archaic Petra. This set requires you to create a shield with crystallize elemental reaction for the specific element that you want to boost your elemental damage and pick it up by the character that has the 4-piece set equipped. This set is mostly used as a support one to increase the damage for your other units. The last one, and the best for her, that I recommend you to use is 2-piece Gladiator with 2-piece Archaic Petra. You will want to go with this one because she really scales well with the attack percent that the Gladiator set bonus provides. Plus you get a 15% geo damage bonus from the 2-piece Archaic Petra. Lastly, we have team comps. The best boy for her is the big Geo Daddy Zhongli as another Geo character because his shield is too broken. Plus for the 2 Geo elemental resonance buff. If you do not have Zhongli, another good candidate will be Albedo. If you do not have either of them, you can still use Noel or the Geo Traveler. For the last two, you can go whatever you want, but I strongly suggest that you at least pick Bennett if you have him.
I got you, homie!
From what I've heard, he is the new 6-star character. Plus you can go with 2 Pyro and 2 Geo characters for the elemental resonances. With the Geo element, you can mostly use what you want because of the crystallize elemental reaction. In conclusion, she's one of the best 4-star characters that does a lot of burst damage.
Now that's a lot of damage!
She is very flexible, you can play her in every comp. The same things apply to her build. She does not require Constellation to be good, but her C2 and her C6 are big power spikes for her. Her elemental burst has a low energy cost. That's all that I have to say about Ningguang. If you have any questions, hit me up on Discord, the link will be in the video description. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.